So people sharing this stat around. Tottenham under Conte. I don't know if it's easy to see. I'll zoom in here. Dyer, Højbjerg and Skip all start 5 games, 0 conceded. When Dyer, Højbjerg and Skip don't start together, 7 games, 13 goals conceded. I don't know who we played in those 5 games.
I'll tell you exactly who we played. Norwich at home, Brentford at home. I can't remember who else, to be honest, but it was all games which you expect us to really win. All against like the lower opposition. So I think the stats are a bit skewed on that, to be honest.
Norwich at home, Brentford at home.
I'll tell you now, I'm just getting it up. So Conte came into the Vitesse game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Everton away.
Yeah.
Brentford at home, Norwich at home, Crystal Palace at home, and there was one more, Watford away.
All right, we still kept clean sheets though.
Yeah.
Which is not nothing. It's not easy to keep clean sheets even against against like Palace, decent, Everton, and Rafa, to be fair. But no, I understand what you're saying. They weren't the hardest games, but we still kept clean sheets. But it doesn't mean just because when they start, everything's going to be back to the being amazing.
But it's been a clear feeling though in the last 2 games against Southampton and against Wolves how much we're missing these 2 players.
Especially Dyer for me.
Desperately.
Like Dyer,
desperately.
Without him, I feel like the back line is just so disorganised. I feel like people are just all over the place at the back and no one's taking the lead, which is a big problem. Wolves punished Spurs and then held firm for 3 points for the hard work for their hard-fought win. This is the Oracle threat barometer, which analyses threat and individual moments of the game. So as you can see, Wolves had the first 20 minutes pretty much all Wolves, and then after that, Tottenham had a lot of it, but we couldn't really threaten properly. We had lots of shots on target, and I think especially that period you can see right at the bottom. That's the last 5 minutes, and I think we really did put a lot of pressure on in the last 5 minutes.
I would say when Kulu came on, I really liked him in that number 10 position. You could see, and maybe not everything came off that he was trying to do, but you could see his vision.
Yeah, and I think if we're playing a team a bit worse than Wolves defensively, I think a lot more of his through balls get paid off.
He nearly scored as well. Nice shot.
That was so close. Just shaved the post. That was such a shame. Antonio Conte's asked for patience from Tottenham fans. Our fans need to understand that maybe you need to have patience to wait to rebuild again the situation they were in, they were used to in the past.
You know what's frustrating about
reality.
this? You know what's frustrating, and I don't put any of this frustration on Conte. Obviously, it's all aimed at the hierarchy, but every manager that comes in says the same things. You need to have patience. We need to rebuild. We need this.
And then we sack them after a couple of
and then they get sacked.
Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as patience anymore in Premier League football. That's
especially
the truth,
not with the Tottenham hierarchy.
Definitely not. So, I mean, look, if it goes wrong for Conte, well, look, I think the fans know now. If it goes wrong with Conte in charge, there's no one else to blame but higher up. Like with Nuno, you can say, oh, Nuno was rubbish, and this. With Mourinho, you can say he was past it and stuff. But when it comes to Conte, there is no excuse for it not to work. Tactical Times say, if Tottenham are bad with Pochettino, Mourinho and Nuno and Conte, we might just have to accept someone sold the club to Beelzebub in exchange for a UCL final and a new stadium, and it's a lost cause. Yeah, we probably are a lost cause, let's be honest, knowing Tottenham. Opta Joe says, Spurs have lost 3 consecutive games for the second time in the Premier League this season. Also in September under Nuno, the first time they had multiple losing streaks in a Premier League campaign since 04-05.
Wow.
Fragile, which was under Santini and Martignol that season.
That was when Santini left after
13 games.
13 games, yeah.
13 games, yeah. Harry Kane's game by numbers, according to Statman Dave, 71% accuracy, 8 shots and 4 on target, 7 ball recoveries, 6 out of 9 duels won, 3 successful take-ons and 2 long balls. He was a handful on a frustrating day. Did you think Kane had a decent display yesterday?
Yeah, there was a moment in the game yesterday where Harry Kane was just trying to do everything on his own because he realised there's just nothing.
Yeah, he's like
around him.
dribbling past like 3-4 players,
He
I
was just
remember.
getting the ball, trying to do everything on his own. So I got up off my seat and I just started singing, "Number 1 is Harry Kane." And I went through the whole thing. A few people joined in because they appreciated the efforts. But
That was in the first half, I think, as well, yeah.
and it was just felt like I just wish we had players all of the same mentality as Harry Kane, because he's the only one that really yesterday that tried to grab that game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, and he tried his hardest. Unfortunately, he was fighting a losing battle at times against that stubborn Wolves back line. No goalkeeper has kept more clean sheets away from home in the Premier League this season than Jose Sarr. The last 2 have come at Old Trafford and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And when it comes to Wolves, they're a lot better, as we said before the game in the preview. They're a lot better away from home than they are at home. They showed that again yesterday, because the onus isn't on them to attack. The onus is on the opposition when they can just make things difficult for you. And we saw that against Arsenal in midweek when when they were at home. It was a lot more difficult for them to play than away from home against us.
Also, Arsenal are not really making these stupid mistakes at the back.
That's it, and they got a bit of a lucky goal from a corner to go 1-0 up, and that was a different kind of game. Whereas we just completely gave them 2 goals, shot ourselves in the foot.
Whatever we want to say about Arsenal and however much we want to clown on them all season and all that kind of stuff, their defence is playing really well at the moment.
It is.
With Gabriel and Ben White at the back. I mean, their defence is performing at levels above ours at the moment. Levels.
Tottenham boss Conte says it's impossible for a team hoping to fight for Champions League to lose games the way Tottenham have recently.
Yeah, spot on. That's exactly what we've been saying. You can't lose these games back to back at home, especially in the position we're in and how tight it is. If we have any of these top 4 hopes, we just can't.
Yeah, and that's the reality. A few key areas. This was the XG yesterday. So despite all the efforts we tried and all the shot, I think we had quite a few shots and even shots on target. As we just saw, Kane had 4, but the XG was so low because they weren't good quality chances.
Every time we had a shot yesterday, it just dribbled into Sarr's hands, literally.
Yeah, and then Wolves, most of their XG came from especially the Dendoncker goal, which was literally on the goal line. So they created a couple really good opportunities, whereas we had lots of chances, but very low quality ones.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. There you can see the shot map. You can just see how close to goal were folks. A few of their shots from Wolves there. For ours, a lot of them just not in very good positions. A lot of them very difficult. And this is another thing representing the threat. So that's Tottenham was 71%, but never really the XG getting that high, unfortunately. Whereas Wolves, despite only minimal threat, were very comfortable.
Yeah.
Conte has lost consecutive home league games as a manager for the first time since 2009 when he was in charge of Atalanta. So that's a very long time ago for Antonio Conte. Being a Tottenham fan in a nutshell, get my hopes up, I get disappointed, I start believing again. Get my hopes up, get disappointed, start believing
again. This is
again.
exactly how I feel, because it got to a stage right now. Obviously, when we sacked Nuno, we're just like, oh my God, what's well, not even just when we sacked Nuno, when we hired Nuno, and that for that whole period, we had no hopes whatsoever. Conte comes in and we're just like, yeah, Conte's here, the best manager in the world. We get an uptick of form and it's all looking good. Players like Davis, Winks, Sanchez, all performing better than they have been for a number of years. And then they show their ugly heads again and they revert back to type. And then it's just like, oh my God, what are we watching? What are we watching? And then, in a few weeks, we'll probably win a few games in a row and all the hope will come back again.
Yeah, we'll start believing. We'll beat Burnley or something and we'll start believing again. But then we'll get disappointed. This is usually how it works with Tottenham. LP says, Hugo Lloris is the reason we weren't 1-0 down, but he's also the reason we weren't 5-0 down. That's pretty true, I felt.
Look, I know a lot of people like to rag on Lloris, and yes, he did make mistakes yesterday, but he's had a brilliant season this year, and I think he's been An unbelievable keeper. He's kept us in games at time. If you look at the Southampton game alone, he was the reason why we weren't 4-5-1 down in the first half.
I think he's had a very good season, let's be honest, Lloris.
Yeah,
he's had a very good season.
He has done. He has done.
I can't remember too many dodgy games like the one today. Like yesterday, sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I, for one, is not going to lay into Lloris too much for yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. Fan Antonio says we need to drop 3 at the back until we have at least 2 of them with a brain. You cannot play a system that means you have to flood your team with brain-dead players. Should we consider moving away from 3 at the back?
Depends when Dyer's coming back, because I think when Dyer comes back, it will get a lot better at the back.
I think Dyer's back for the City game. I'm hoping anyway.
So if he is, then I think we got to keep it at 3 at the back against City, because if we have Dyer and Romero there in the back 3, that makes it a lot stronger and should put a bit more kind of leadership in there. And Dyer always has a good game against City, doesn't he?
So annoying. As soon as Romero comes back, Dyer's out.
Yeah,
and Dyer had a long stretch of games while Romero was out. Yeah, I think that we shouldn't be so rigid to this 3 at the back. As much as I think it's fine for it to be the main formation, but there should be games where he thinks if we can get 4 at the back and get an extra body in the attack, maybe that could be better for specific games. And I think we saw once we did move to 4 at the back, we did gain a lot more control in the middle. So that's something maybe we should look at.
Yeah, and it does feel like we're just a bit too predictable at the moment with the systems that we're playing, the way we're playing, and the personnel we're playing as well.
All right. Steven says the last 2 games have shown us exactly where we are. Not one of Davis, Sessegnon, Sanchez, Doherty, Royale, or Winks, to name a few, get into teams above us or around us. Lack of proper investment, penny pinching, and poor scouting has set us back years.
Yeah, spot on. Poor scouting being the main part of that, in my opinion, because we actually, when you look at it, we actually have spent quite a bit of money over the last 3-4 years. Spent a lot of money when you're talking about breaking our transfer record like 2 times or 3 times in that period with Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, Ryan Sessegnon coming in for big money. We've spent a lot of money, and it's all been for nothing, really.
Yep, and we're going to lose a lot of it, aren't we? Not saying Jose was perfect, Nuno was perfect, or Conte is perfect, but 16 managers in 21 years says a lot. The ownership is rotten. Spurs were on the cusp of a great team 5 years ago, and Levy failed to invest.
Yeah,
couldn't be more true. Prem inside, these players under Potts, Jose, Nuno, and now Conte always collapse mentally after a surprising loss. That's what Conte has to fix. A game we expect to win, and then cannot keep dictating how we play in future games.
So true. That is so true, because you look at that Southampton game, and you could see from the start of that game there was a clear hangover from that game. Mm-hmm. The mentality of this team is shot to pieces, and this is what we've been saying consistently for a number of years now. Like, this team can play, no problems, but as soon as one thing goes wrong, the whole mentality of the whole team completely collapse. And this is what we're going through.
It happened under Jose. It happened late on. I remember under Poch. It happened a few times under Poch. I remember we used to keep saying it. Like, I remember even in his dark days, in the last year of Pochettino, there would be a lot of games where we'd start like really well. Like, we'd be 1-0 up even, and we would play really good football. And maybe we haven't like we should be 2-0 or 3-0 up, and we just aren't, and we're playing good football, and then something would go wrong, we'd get a red card, or we'd concede like a really sloppy, stupid goal, and then we'd go on to lose the game, and we'll feel sorry for ourselves. And that has been going on for way too long now in this team, and maybe it's the players who have been here too long that is cause of it, because if it keeps happening, it can't, and we're changing managers, it can't be the manager's fault.
Yeah.
So that's definitely right. DR says half our team wouldn't get into the Wolves team. What would a combined 11 team Wolves and Tottenham look like?
Jesus. In goal, Sarr or Lloris?
I think Lloris.
Yeah, I'd put Lloris. Right back is not our right back, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Semedo's not great, but he's probably better than what we have.
Yeah. Left back. Who do they have at left back?
They had Nuri yesterday. I'd probably pick Reguilon there.
Yeah, I mean, was he even on the bench yesterday, Reguilon?
He was, yeah.
Put Reguilon there, but I don't think he's playing too well at the moment. Centre backs, you got to put Romero in there, but I think
Kilman goes in there.
Kilman
probably ahead of Davis.
Let's put Romero on the right, Kilman on the left, and in the centre, is it Cody or Dyer?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably
Could be either or,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Talking about
Could be
Tottenham
either
bias,
or.
probably saying Dyer, but Cody's the one in the England squad at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
You probably put Cody there, to be honest.
In the central midfield positions, you got to put Neves and Moutinho probably.
Definitely goes in there. If we're playing 3-4-3, yeah, definitely Neves. And then, yeah, Neves and Moutinho probably both go in there, to be honest.
Neves and Moutinho, obviously striker Harry Kane, left wing Son, and on the right wing, I don't know. I thought Trincao was all right yesterday.
Nah,
he looked tricky though.
He is tricky, but he's even more frustrating than Lucas. Probably Neto when he's fit.
Neto for sure, yeah.
So what? They get
like half kind of.
I think they get more though.
Yeah, probably.
There you go. That pretty much says it all. Charlie Eccleshare says, wonder if this will be a reverse of the famous Chelsea defeat to Arsenal when Conte switched to a back three and then never reverted. Three at the back just not really working for Tottenham at the moment. Guess we'll see if 4-2-3-1 is much better in the second half, allowing for the game. Oh, this was done to half time. More realistically, hopefully things will improve when Dyer's back, his importance really being highlighted in his absence. Do you reckon is there any chance we go with the four at the back in City, though? No, probably not. I can't see that happening. After the game, he was asked about it, Conte. He said he doesn't think we went to that we conceded 2 goals because of 3 at the back.
Yeah. I don't think. I think if Dyer comes back in, it's a good opportunity to keep to 5 at the back, because the 3 defenders, if we have Romero and Dyer in that back 3, it's going to become a lot stronger, in my opinion.
Jack Law says, Davis, people tell me decent squad player, 253 games. Sanchez, people tell me he's good under Conte, 173 games. Winks, people tell me he's playing well once against Madrid, 194 games. Add whoever you want to the list. We stockpile shit, we reward failure. Have we been keeping Davis, Sanchez and Winks for too long?
Yes, we have. We've said it many a time how many players we've kept for too long. Dele Alli was one of them. A lot of players in this squad have been here for too long and they're too comfortable. And yes, when a new manager comes in, you get that manager bounce and they start playing well again. But as soon as that transfer window shut, they all reverted back.
You even
to type.
saw it under on Jose when he first came in. Dele Alli was brilliant. He was like for the first month or two. I remember he scored like 8 goals. Like he was scoring goals, like a lot of goals. And he was playing. I remember at Old Trafford, he like flicked it over someone's head and scored, and he was playing so well. And then what happened? He reverted back to what he was, and maybe that's the same happening with a few of these players.
Yeah. So I mean, all these players, I'm afraid, ultimately they're going to need to go. Ultimately.
Tottenham versus Wolves highlights. There you go. Pretty much says all. Palace fan HLTCO says Spurs fans must feel like they're taking part in a social experiment week to week. Even from an outsider's point of view, they're such a madhouse of a club.
So true.
At least someone sees it.
To be honest, I've been thinking my whole life this Spurs have been a social experiment.
Yeah, to see how much pain they can put a fan base through before they crack. Well, we cracked a long time ago, mate. Dan Fry says, hope to see a defence of Rodon, Romero, Dyer. Davis back to his old ways, so maybe he should be rotational rather than the mainstay. And with Dyer, Romero being able to play with the ball, I think we'd benefit with an old school, no-nonsense centre-back like Rodon next to them.
Do you think if Dyer's fit this weekend that Rodon comes in? Because I can't see that. Can you
Not for Dyer, no. Does he play on the left-hand side?
He plays on the left?
I think he likes Davis. I don't think he's going to drop him just because of a couple bad games. So yeah, I don't see that happening. Then Hotspur, the word of Hotspur says, Ben Davis was deemed not good enough 6 years and 4 managers ago. Winks was deemed not good enough 6 years and 4 managers ago. The only reason they're still here is because Levy has run Spurs as a vehicle for profit instead of a football club. This stockpiling of deadwood is a much bigger problem than people realise. For one, it's a breed of mentality of mediocrity around the club. Shows that Tottenham are not even trying to compete, but more importantly, the tools to win games are simply not there. Levy is a disgrace.
Yeah.
I think Dave definitely on the fact with Ben Davis, he's always been a backup. Whenever we've been at our best, he's always been a backup.
I think that's all spot on. Absolutely spot on. It's the same thing as we just spoke about a few minutes ago. These players have been here for too long. And these players like Harry Winks and Ben Davis were always backups for us. And now they're starters for us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's just the progression of the team. We're like moving further and further back. It seems. Anyone in the comments? What's this? This you can. Harry Brooks says you can get signings wrong, but it's very easy after limited viewing. If players lack technical qualities, a club of Spurs' resources, stature, and access to scouting players should not sign a single player that lacks technical competencies. It's not allowed. And when it comes to players like Sanchez, clearly the scouting department has a lot to deal with that. When there's lack of technical quality.
They sign these kind of players, these up and coming players that look like diamonds in the rough, that which they think they can, polish them and become diamonds. But as Conte said, this club has made a lot of mistakes in the transfer window, and it's not just the quality of the player you need to look at. You need to look at all facets of the player if they're going to work in the Premier League, not just if they've got a bit of potential.
Yeah,
and that's what they've been doing.
Craig Silver says, what are these players' mindsets? They watch Man United drop crucial points on Saturday, and this is how they react. We're literally handing top 4 to Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what it seems like at the moment.
It does seem like that. Shul Bear says, look on the bright side, Spurs never fail to bring out the best in others. Even the most pitbull 2-bit clubs will infallibly produce performances out of the top drawer whenever they play Spurs. If that's not a force for good, I don't know what is.
We're just a bunch of nice guys.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
exactly.
how nice. Look, we're the nicest team in the world. Like, if you want 3 points, all you have to do is come and play us. And Dr. Tottenham reveals its head all over again every game. And you got to give credit to the boys because they're such nice people. They're so nice.
Spurs watch Conte suffering 3 league defeats for the first time since 2009. That picture, he does look very worried, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Antonio Conte.
That guy next to him, I don't know his name, but he looks ready to kill.
Yeah, literally. Look at those eyes. Oh man, I wouldn't want to get in the way of that. Bloody hell. He looks. He's gonna murder someone.
I think when Conte talks about, if the player doesn't give his all, he's ready to kill. I think he's the henchman that he gets to do it.
He looks like he's ready to cry, and he looks like he's ready to kill. And then Sand says, Daniel Levy loves these players, which is why we never sell them. We saw this in the canteen scenes in All or Nothing documentary.
Yeah, I think Daniel Levy's just waiting for them to go on an uptick of form again so he can get some sort of profit because he doesn't want to be losing more money on some more players like he might do on Ndombele and Lo Celso and all these players. He's got to make some profit somewhere.
Yeah. And then Harry Brooks follow up the others. He says, of course, technical is a broad term and you don't have to master all of it to be at the top level. My point is Spurs have too many players that lack basic technical competencies. None of the other top 6 do. Too many aren't with the ball. That can't happen. I would say the players, for me, that lack proper technical competencies at the moment in our squad, I would say Sanchez.
Emerson.
I would say Emerson, Doherty, Davis. I would probably put
Winks.
I wouldn't put Winks in there. I think Winks has decent technical ability. I think it's off the ball where he's the real problem for me.
Well, you say that, but there's a lot of games. Yes, there's some games where he can show his technical ability, and maybe he does have it in his locker. But there's way too many games where he gets the ball in the middle of the park. It's wayward pass time and time again. The good performances from Winks in terms of technical ability are way too far between.
Few and far between.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, you can put Winks in there. Højbjerg, I might put in there. I think he lacks quite some serious technical ability. That's at least 5 there. Then Tanganga, you can probably put there.
Joe Rodon probably.
Rodon we haven't seen enough of to make a judgment on that. I wouldn't put Sesson on there yet. Everyone else, obviously, I like Kane's son. Lucas, no, I wouldn't put Lucas there. Yeah, so that's like a lot of our squad though. And those 5-6 players we play on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it costs us a lot especially I tell you when it really costs us when we're put under pressure. like against Southampton and like against Wolves in the first 25 minutes when they put us under
just
real
press
pressure.
This team, just press this
They
team,
shit
and they'll
themselves.
fold for you. They'll absolutely fold for you.
So
That's
now
all
the
you
technical
need
ability
to
to
do.
play out.
Yeah, that's all you need to do to play against Tottenham Hotspur. Just harry and press us a little bit, and we'll fold under the pressure for you.
So I think that's right. All right,
Nice,
well,
guys.
that's enough for Twitter for now. But there you go. That's Twitter reacting to Tottenham's 2-0 home defeat to Wolves.